What's happening, everybody? Marcus here. Hope y'all having a good day. It is absolutely beautiful out here. Today I'm going to do a short video and show you how to spool up a spin cast and a bait cast. And then we'll do some rod and reel combo discussions. Maybe help you out if you're just starting out on what to buy. Y'all stick around. Hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button for me. Don't forget to hit that bell notification. That way when I put out a video, you will be notified. Thank y'all. Alright guys, first thing I want to do is talk about the string spool. What I do is I always take and I find out which way that string's coming off, and I draw me a little line on it. That way every time I go to it I know. The reason why that's important is you want whichever way the string is coming off here and whichever way the bell turns when you're reeling it to be the same way. So I want to look at it this way. And what you do if it's not right, if this is turning clockwise and this is the counterclockwise, you just flip it over and it will be correct. You know, if that makes sense to you. If you do it the other way, if you spool off of the string this way and that bell's turning, the string arrow is going this way and that string is going that way, it's gonna flip, it's gonna twist, you're gonna have a fit. You're gonna be miserable and mad the whole time. So pay attention to that. Alright guys, first thing I'm going to talk about is what knot I usually tie. If you just take your line and tie overhand knot on it, pull it tight, make a loop. Just take that piece of string that you just had and make a loop, and then tie overhand knot back to itself. Basically all you want to do behind the knot that you tied on the tag end. And then just pull it tight. That's all you got to do. It's going to end up just a little slip knot right here. And then when you get ready to pull that, put that on your reel and you pull it tight, it will actually pull that little knot that you got on the tag end right up against that other knot. And that is how that works. So basically what you want to do is, I took the end off of this rod, you know, so not so hard. Pass through that one eye. You're going to need the rod for a little bit of leverage. And then what I do is, let me use my sunglass case here to hold this up. Make sure your bell's open. And then you take your little knot and open it up like so. And just pass it around there. And then just pull it tight. Or you could do like I do sometimes, is I'll get my wife to come over here and I'll make a wrap. Put your finger right there, baby. And then I'll make it over here and I'll pull it tight. And then make her hold it again, pull it tight. But anyway. Okay, once you get that on there, if you just take and pull this string tight, right here, pull it tight, that little arbor knot goes, I don't know if you can see that. That little tag knot that you had goes down to that other knot. And then you just take your pliers or your scissors or whatever you want and cut that little tag off close as you want, far as you want, doesn't matter. But anyway, you just take and pull that down, and as long as you're pulling on it, it can't come off. The tighter you pull it, the tighter it gets around the rear. And then you can close your bell. Alright, now remember, you want your string facing the same way it's coming off, the same way your reel's turning. So then once you get that on there, what I do is I just hold it tight right here at the end of the rod so it doesn't move nowhere. And I just start reeling it up. And by holding it tight, it's tight on the reel. You can hold it a little bit further down, but it's pulling it tight on the reel. The wraps on the string is coming off the same way as it's going on. So you can I usually go rule of thumb. I don't never worry about yardage, but I usually put all the way up to about 1/8 of an inch to the end of to the spacing on my reel right here. 1/8 of an inch or so, depending on what you want to do. All right, once you get enough line on it, I usually just I put the tape on it on the end of the string right there for time beings. But you know, got enough line on the reel, then you can just go ahead and cut off cut it off at the string, and then just pass it through. Put your pole back together, pass it through, and tie a bait. You're good to go. Now, what I like to do is once I get it this away, I throw it out and cast it, and I hold this string real tight, because another thing that people don't realize is the size of this and the size of this is different. So the string is going to tend to want to loop. It's not twist, but it's going to have some loops in it. So if you just hold that tight while you're reeling it in, that string will actually flip over for you, and it will get straight. So that's the spinning cast string up. All right, guys, so what we got here is I got my spool straight up right here. I ain't gonna talk about what I got going on right here. I had to make do with what I had, but it's gonna work. Pass the string through that first eye. Then when you get over here to the reel, you got a little eyelet that you gotta go through right there. Take and pass the end of your string through that little eyelet and come out the other side. And you can see the string right there. And then, because it's so hard to get the actual, hell, I can't even catch it right now. Because it's so hard to get the actual string around that, you take it and stick it through one of them holes, and then just take and back the reel up. And then there's the end of it right there. Once you get the end, you just pull it tight. And then what I normally do is just tie, overhand knot, arbor knot if you'd like. If you want, it's hard to do an arbor knot because you can't pass it, but I usually just tie an overhand knot. Just like before, you want to hold your hand down at the eye or at the eyelet, or even at the anywhere on the reel. Just hold a little bind on it, and it will. And then you just start spooling your string up, and it will spool it up all the way for you. Yeah. You just spool up till you get enough. That is it. Once you get it full, get your string on as much as you want. You just cut it off, pass it through the rest of the rod, and you're good to go. All right, guys, this is a Shakespeare rod and reel combo that I bought at Walmart. Nothing to it, nothing fancy. Works just as good as any other rod and reel combo that you're gonna buy out there, I promise you. I use them quite frequently. If you ain't got a whole bunch of money to spend, there's even some a little bit less money than that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the reel first. Every one of these reels will have the actual line variance that you can put on it and a gear ratio. It so happens to be a 5.2 to 1, which means the bell will turn 5.1 or 5.2 times for every crank of the actual the crank on the reel. So that's what that is. It's a 4-ball bearing system. It's not nothing fancy to it. And then it does have drag in the front like all the rest of them. You just turn that little piece right there in the front. So I usually put 10-pound tests on a little bit, as the max, and I don't fill it up all the way full because they do cast a little bit funky with a lot of string on them. So, and then they cast a little bit different with not enough string on them too. So you want to be careful. And getting to the rod part of it, every one of these rods will have actual length, the action, and a line size. Now, the line size on the rod is going to be different. The variance is going to be different than it will be on the actual reel. So don't look at the reel and think that that's all the rod's good for. 6 foot 6 inch. It's not very long. Action is medium. And line 6 to 15 pounds. You can put anything from 6 to 15 pounds on here, and it worked pretty good. You can put heavier than that, it's not gonna work as well. Just starting out, I would recommend that you would probably use at least medium, not anything heavier than that. And then if you're gonna use this for panfish, I would probably stay on the low side of that string. And for ultralight, they got ultralight small combos, just as what I use. Same thing like this. We call it ultralight gear. 4 to 6 pound test line is what I use for panfish and sockeye lake fishing and things like that. It's pretty fun. So go out and get you one, get started, and you'll be fine. All right, now to the Baitcaster. This is a Quantum Pulse. It was a combo that I bought at a fishing shop here in Pennsylvania. $99 I think I paid for the whole rig. Nothing fancy. It does have a 5-ball bearing system, and the ratio on it is 6. Look, it's right here. The ratio on this one is 6.6 to 1. Just like the other one. Every crank on this right here, this thing turns 6.6 times. If you never casted a bait cast before, I recommend you get this thing. You get one like this. It don't even have to be this one. Learn what this knob does, which is actually adjusts the spool reel, and learn it. Put some string on it, throw it out there, ball it up, get the string out, and do what you need to do with it before you go spend a bunch of money. They got some high dollar gear out there that you really don't need to be successful catching fish. You can buy a nice small combo for $50, $75 maybe. I use a lot of loose Baitcaster rod combos. They are great. I mean, they're not gonna break the bank, and they will reel in fish just like the rest of them. So on this one here, particular rod, it is a 6 foot. Let's see, I'm gonna set this phone down. It is a 6 foot 6 inch medium heavy fast line. So 8 to 14 pounds, lower weight 1/4 inch to 3/8. So this is a little bit heavier. I tend to use a little bit heavier. I've been fishing a while, but I use a heavier, medium heavy to heavy on the Baitcasters. And usually this one here, I bought it here, not to spend a bunch of money. I put 15-pound test line on it. It's not a big deal. It works great. And the 6 foot 6 is not too long, where if you're standing on the bank around trees and different things like that, you really don't want a 7 foot 6 rod. I mean, it's hard to put in there. If you're just starting out, it's going to be hard to cast that thing until you get familiar with it. Once you get familiar with casting Baitcasters, then you work your way up to a heavier action rod, longer. You'll get some real advantage out of that. You'll see what I'm talking about once you do it. So that's the two combos that I want to talk about today. Now, if you fishing smaller fish, you put smaller line. Bigger, heavier fish, heavier line. That's just the way it works. So, right, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, hit the bell notification, and we'll be seeing y'all soon.